Hello there, welcome once again for one more exciting episode of CXO Story by LinkCxO. LinkCxO is India's leading networking platform. Once again, we have somebody who has finished his corporate stint and started something on his own. Isn't it always wonderful to have guests who are from diverse background? Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the founder of 𝗬𝘂𝗍, Sushil Vaishnav with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Sushil.
Thank you so much, Vinay, for inviting me and giving us an opportunity to connect with LinkCxO podcast. And I'm really thrilled. Like we are going to have a great discussion ahead.
Absolutely. Looking forward for that, Sushil. First and foremost, you've had a long journey across companies like Nestle, ConAgra Foods, IFFCO. What early experiences shaped the way you think about systems and scale today?
See, I have worked for about 15 years in the supply chain domain, that is also to the food industry primarily. So, actually, I had very good in depth knowledge about the logistics, how exactly the truck drivers moves the goods from one place to another place. So, that's a one. I have implemented couple of big ERP projects. So, that has given me good hands on to the tech part of the businesses, how it works. Then, handle the team, so again, that has given me, I would say, edge. It's company is nothing about only people. So I think these three things I feel personally adds a lot of value for building the company.
Very, very well said, Sushil. Growing up, was there a defining moment that pushed you towards solving real world problem rather than just building a career?
Yeah, definitely. See, I am coming from a very small town in Rajasthan, which is called Bundi. All right, and coming from humble background where I have seen people do struggle for the small basic things. Have seen a lot of unemployment around where people are still depending on the government schemes for the monthly ration. Once I was there in the corporate life, I have tried my level best how I can support them financially, but over the period of time realized it's impossible to solve by just donation or giving the money. So thought of creating an employment. Probably I think employment is the right thing which can actually, I would say, solve for the long period of time. So that was always there. So wanted to get into something where I can create the employment around it, and that was the, I would say, sort of kick which has pushed us towards getting into the journey of entrepreneurship.
Very interesting to know on that. On that thought, since you mentioned that you spent early years in supply chain, what did that world teach you about inefficiencies that most people never see?
See, what I see personally when we are sitting in the corporate making a lot of presentations to improve the things on the ground, be it any kind of systems, I feel the key thing which is there, the person who's actually picking your goods and transferring it to somewhere else. Many times we miss that aspect in our presentations. I also did many times. So what I have realized, until unless you don't have a good faith, control, and trust in the team, no systems can make any changes on the ground. And that's I feel that's a real difference if you wanted to create and implement any changes in the entire organization.
And in your case, you've worked with some of the very leading brands like Nestle, ConAgra Foods, IFFCO. The transition to entrepreneurship. Talk about that, please. As in, what triggered the shift from a stable corporate career to founding 𝗬𝘂𝗍? What was the story like?
See, as I mentioned, like employment is something which was always there. Even before starting the 𝗬𝘂𝗍, me and Kirti were based out of Dubai. We tried building two more companies or startup, but we failed miserably, lost a lot of money. We were trying to sail into the two boats, trying to be safe as much as possible. But we realized, yeah, it's difficult. Like without having a complete dedication, you can't build anything. So then that's the time we have taken the decision. Okay, we felt like jobs is there anytime you can come back. Let's whatever the money you have, if you are able to try, do not die with the ambition you wanted to do. You never did. So we left everything and then we came back here in India and started our journey. First discovery what we are going to do, and then after start building the company.
And when was it when you realized that waste cooking oil was a massive untapped problem and perhaps that can lead to something else completely?
So, Vinay, this is also includes the personal instant. As I mentioned, once we were working in the highly paid job back in
Yeah.
Dubai, came back here in India with the same single ambition, wanted to create employment around. We never went the day once we landed here in India, we never went to our parents' home for the comfort, for enjoying the life and so on. We actually took, like, we were staying at the friend's home, then find the school for the kids. Then nearby we took the one apartment guest house to start our day three. So all the luggage in the guest house started our journey. So during that period, actually every day morning, once kids were going to the school, you need to you need to send the breakfast, lunch, and have a dinner, and everything is from outside. Nothing, because you don't have a kitchen. You are just literally living in the guest house. So what we realized, kids' health was getting impacted. Of course, we were trying to eat from the best restaurants around, but still we could not able to figure out what is going wrong. Though, so personally, we started changing the first initially restaurant, then secondly started visiting the restaurant and see. If you see from the outside, everything was looking amazing. Everything is good, nothing wrong, because hygienically and everything they were good. But once we went inside the kitchen, we realized the kind of oil they were using is like they never there was no concept of throwing the oil. Constantly keep using it until it become is like dark viscous material,
Yeah.
and they were not leaving that material. Also, they were mixing it with for the taste and so on and so forth. So we realized, yeah, this is something. We were very selfish about it. We felt our kid deserve better food. Can we create that environment where, in absence of as a parent, also they will be safe?
Yeah.
That was a tipping point, I would say. We thought of, let's do it around. We can't solve everything, but I think this is the visible problem. And and because of the kind of experience in the food technology and the work in the food industry, we knew, yes, I think this is somewhere we can fix it also. So we took this as a challenge, and then journey started.
Sounds like an exciting plan to start off a startup right from scratch. So, how difficult was it to convince vendors and businesses to change their habits around used cooking oil?
Yes, it was difficult because it was part of the many of the restaurant. It was part of their secret ingredient to bring the test. Also, there was no regulation once we started. Initially, we went to everyone. Then we found like everybody was shutting the door. No, it is not required. We are okay. We don't need your services. The one we realized, I think government part is something which was missing. There must be regulation around it. So personally, I spent a lot of time in the doing the licensing, writing to the government. Honestly, I have written 17 RTIs just to get
Wow.
something in black and white. Yes, this is required. I think that once after so many efforts with the licensing with the government, something came in black and white, and that has given us a little tool to speak to the food business operator. Now this is required also. And after that, I would say things were started moving the way we wanted.
And elaborating on that thought, how serious is the issue of oil adulteration in India and why is it still so under discussed?
See, I'll tell you, FSSI own data, 60% of the oil which is being disposed by the organized player still goes back to the food chain. I'll tell you how. The big restaurant, those who follow the international guidelines, or those who actually really wanted to serve the great quality food, they do dispose. The middleman scrap vendor will come, they will pick this oil, they will sell it to the nearby street food vendor just after the filtering, and this guy will keep using it until become, black dark material. So they mix it again with the curries, samosa masala, and
Yeah,
so on and
yeah.
so forth. They make different chutneys like momos chutneys and so on and so forth from these dark oils. So this is the evident problem, and we also constantly keep seeing, right, so many heart attacks keep coming. So many people are impacted despite they are having a good healthy habits. Still, they are getting impacted. So this is like clearly evident problem, but the why it is not being discussed, because you remember we are such a large population, right? And so many different priorities as a country, we already have it. Bringing into the such a niche topic, probably it will take time for the government also to focus. But what we have realized in the last 6 year journey, things are changing. At least the consumer is getting more and more aware, and we are very hopeful. Consistent efforts on the creating an awareness bring that difference which we are expecting.
Very, very well said, Sushil. Continuing on that thought, from a founder mindset and leadership, you have managed teams of about 100 plus in your corporate role. So, how different is it now leading a startup team? How do you manage that?
So I'll tell you honestly, once you are there in the corporate, there are 10 people around you to manage somebody's HR, somebody's finance, somebody's security, or somebody transport. But once you are a founder, you are everything, right? So yes, it is difficult. I won't say it is easy, but I would personally, as I said, the kick for us was that creating an employment, creating the society around you where you see people are also growing along with you. On the day once I write a check for the salary, that's the most happiest day always for me.
Wow.
So I think it's a it's a fun. Yeah, it's tough, but it's fun.
And as a founder, what's the toughest decision you have taken so far?
I would say, when we once we started, it was in 2019, and we were doing okay. COVID hit us, and honestly, we lost everything because restaurants were shut. All the money was already there in the infrastructure. I did not had a money to pay this kids school fees,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that was and then asking money from the friends and the parents again at this juncture of your life, I feel always difficult. Like it was the most difficult time for me during the COVID.
Very, very interesting and very transparent comments from your side. I wish our oils are also as transparent as our conversation is flowing. From a entrepreneur point of view, from a founder point of view, what has surprised you positively about entrepreneurship?
So I it's a 24/7 job, right? And we once we were there in the corporate, it was never looks like. So that was a surprise. But probably I'm a sort of workaholic guy, so for me it was okay. Yeah, that was a surprise. That is a 24/7 job.
And what are the harsh realities of building a startup that people don't talk about and our viewers would love to know from you?
Yeah, don't plan for any money, fame, or anything. This will be the byproduct. If you have a purpose which gives you larger motivation, because you're not a single day is going to the same, the kind of variations which you will see in your daily life is going to be immense. And so when you are there in the corporate life, it is always more or less steady. Your delta is very pretty low versus here is the delta is very big. So you need to have that nerve control. So yeah, that's the tough part always.
And I read about you that you have done your engineering. And then what's the stream or branch that you have done your engineering in?
So I have done food technology, and food technology is primarily is around because a lot of food industries are there. So what kind of production quality and systems you should have it. So they teaches you in these branches, and this is very niche across India.
Oh, very interesting. As in, from your bachelor in engineering in food technology, followed by stint in corporates, and now your own startup as a founder. Very, very interesting journey so far, Sushil. And one more on those lines. What role does technology play in scaling trust and transparency in your model?
Yeah, so in our model is whenever you say anything is green, okay, if it is green, it must be traceable. Because green definition, like if when we are also involved into the exports of the our product, they you can claim the carbon credits, etc. Right? Only if you have a traceability. So from the financial and the business point of view, until if it is, your oil is not traceable from where it is came, you can't have that trust from your customers. That's the first part. Second part is imagine a company who's actually buying the oil and then from the bad oil and working as a scrap vendor selling back to again to the street food vendors. If the traceability is not there, there is a more likelihood there is organized criminals you are building in the system. So for the government point of view, traceability is the key if they wanted to really bring the change, and from the customer point of view, it is very critical.
I see. On the same lines, are there any global markets where this model could work even better in any other geography other than India?
Yes, I think the kind of tech model which we have built, like your Ola and Uber,
Yeah.
I still see many developed nations are also not using tech as a key lever for collecting the waste cooking oil. And I would still see anywhere, especially in the Southeast Asia, entire Gulf region, there is enough opportunities where our kind of model can be implemented very fast because the kind of transparency, kind of ease of disposal, and the fast pickups we are able to do it. It will solve problem for many of the restaurants.
As a founder, any hiring mistake that you might have done which we can learn from?
Hiring mistakes, all right. So see, it's always difficult to gauge a person in the 1 hour or 3 hours of the conversations, right? So mistakes does happen, but what I realize, if you are, as much as if you are able to open yourself, tell more and more about the key roles, see the fitments where the person is actually is able to understand the what kind of role he's coming into, that gives a lot of clarity in the beginning, and then many of the conversation either close there itself, so the person who is coming, he also don't lose much, and so as we also do not invest much. Also, like asking the very basic but common sense related questions instead of asking, tell me about yourself, your achievements and so on. I think you should, and we as a company, we always try ask the very basic questions of what you actually has have done on the ground. That and like we also had similar experience initially. We were hiring anybody who comes with the great personality, great English, and it's because his English is so beautiful, you assume everything is good, and once he come on board on the day 2, day 3, day 5, or day 30, you realize it's a, I won't say there's a person problem, because in India, the kind of education system we have, we create more of robots, less of people, those who, actually date when they can start their jobs. So I think this is the more of related to the kind of education system which we have on the back in India. So yeah, this is the few mistakes which we have done where we went ahead only with the personality and the English speaking skills and so on.
So it would be like right to say that perhaps communication is essential, not necessarily the language, and then that's where some of the things count, where what they bring on the table, and then finally what they're able to deliver at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Great learning for.
But we realize common sense is the major thing. One, everyone should have a little common sense, irrespective of the which language you speak.
Totally agree on that. On that commonsensical note, I start off my little insightful and personal segment with you, which is the rapid fire with you. A failure that taught you more than success ever did. What would it be?
I would say, like, see, initially, once we were started the company, we had no idea what is the equity means. We'll end up losing our 50% of the equity in the peanuts, like 30 lakhs rupee we lost all the, and that was a key lesson. And then uh, COVID came, things was falling. Those who gave us the money, they wanted to go back. Probably that gave us an opportunity to buy back that equity again in the same peanuts, and that has given a big lesson in the life. It's not the money which can actually drive the business. It's the commitment and consistency in your vision will help you to grow. Don't be bothered if you are not growing in the some period of time. It is okay to not to grow.
Well, that's a very interesting thought to say that it's okay not to grow as long as there is commitment and consistency in what we do. On that thought, one habit that keeps you grounded as a founder.
I see, but like I always see myself as a part of the one team. I was always there on the other side of the table, and probably I always see from that same lens the way I was seeing earlier the management. So I think that's the only thing. I always see myself as a part of the same team where we are working.
And if eCoil didn't exist today, what problem would you be solving?
It's difficult answer, but I would say something, anything which is related to the health of India. I personally feel since the beginning, food should not be the reason for anybody to be sick.
Yeah.
It's the reason for to live why one should be sick. So I would have solved some other problem which is creating an unhealthy environment in the Indian society.
On that food for thought, what advice would you give to someone who wants to build a business with both profit and purpose, like what your organization is doing currently?
As I mentioned earlier, if you are clear, your goal is clear, you wanted to create a bigger impact in the society, then you don't need any motivation from anyone. You will be consistently keep doing irrespective of reward and recognition what you have. That's the first thing. Purpose is the key thing. Second part is think always like a धंधा. धंधा पैसे से ही बनता है,
जी.
right? You must make money. If you don't wait for any fundings or anything, if you are persistent in your approach, you are frugal in your expenses, business will be created, because the kind of country size we have, the kind of problems exist in this nation, a business will be created. Only your consistency matters. That's what I would say. Be there, just do it. Don't wait for it will happen or not.
And what would you advise young professionals who talk about sustainability not just as a buzzword but as a career path. What's your tip or advice to them?
If sustainability is giving them a kick, then I'm sure they are thinking in the right direction. And 10-year, 5-year down the line, there is no option of thinking about the sustainability. This is the only way because we have a limited space, limited environment, and limited water. And sustainability, the path is right, and take the calls where you feel impact will be bigger.
Yeah. And if you had to summarize your journey in one line, what it would be?
I won't say one word, I would say exciting. So I am always excited what I am doing from day one.
I'm sure there are many more milestones for and exciting times for eCoil in the coming year and forward. LinkCxO and team wishes you and the entire team of eCoil Sushil a very successful and productive year ahead and many more milestones to achieve. Thank you so much for taking time out in your busy schedule for our podcast. And on my last segment, what's your opinion for LinkCxO? Any take on that as a platform?
So I'm honestly, you are creating an amazing organization, something which is actually need of an hour for the country. The way we are also serving a purpose, you are also serving the same purpose. We keep saying there's a employment is in gap or there is a jobs are not available. I would say it's the only the right connects are not there. I think you are establishing that connect, and that's an amazing work you guys are doing. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to have a podcast with you.
Thank you so much. And we sign off with one more episode coming up shortly. Keep watching Link CXO for good content, which gives you a glimpse of CXOs, entrepreneurs, founders, and corporate heroes and heroines. Signing off, Vinay Rao here. Thank you.